What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Greg B, and welcome to the very first edition of our interview sessions right here on the 868 sessions. Now, a lot of you probably are wondering what is this and what is the 868 sessions all about? Well, for those Trinidad artists who are basically may not necessarily have the biggest following that the likes of Destra, of Marshall Montano, or Bunji Garland, etc., who people would probably consider of the elite class. This is an opportunity for artists who have a fan base and also have another platform that they'll be able to grow their following and allow many artists to get an up close and personal time with them, an opportunity to be able to get to know the person behind the artist, behind the persona, behind whatever mystique that is added to them. This is a special episode for me as well today. This is our very first. And the gentleman that I have gracing with us today is a very accomplished young man. He's an entertainer. He's a lawyer, and he's also an entrepreneur involved in multiple businesses. And most recently, he has been lending his talents to an AI contribution called, as we look here, the Circle Armor, and he will be playing a character by the name of Gregor. Ladies and gentlemen, you will probably have known this man beforehand by some of the of very talented and also culturally important music as well too. One of the pieces I'm going to play a quick clip of. For those of you, you have to be at Trinity and you have to know this song.
Yo, yo, yo. So here with the team now, boy. Alright, here with my team now, boy. Represent for the red, white, black every day. We be living our dreams now, boy. So just say what you feel now, boy. We just keeping it real now, boy. All around the world, they ask me where we from. We say TMP now, boy. Now, boy. Now, boy. If you're from Trinidad, now, boy. Now, boy. Now, boy. If you're from Bago, now, boy. Now, boy. Now, boy.
Now, that's just a quick sampling of what he has had to contribute, and that's probably one of the biggest hits. But he's also been dabbling in more and more music. He's also rechristened himself. The man formerly known as Mr. Mark Hardy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the first episode of our interview sessions here on the 868 sessions, the one and only Braveboy.
Yo, yo, Greg B, my brother. What's up? What's up?
What's going on, bro? I just want to say first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a man, a jack of all trades in every sense of the word. So I appreciate you coming and taking your time to spend with us.
No worries at all. I just finished working out. That's important.
Hey, that's important. That's important.
Not just for physical health, but for mental health, bro. I think that like during the pandemic, that really helped me deal with a lot of stuff I'm going through in my life, my personal life. So, yeah, if I don't work out for the week, I feel like strange, you know. So,
listen, I ain't get wrong. I mean, I had to go back to the gym later this week. I'm trying to see if I can do some stuff. I have some gigs this weekend, so it's been kind of taking up my time as well too. So this platform has also been something that's been a bit of a brainchild that I've been working on for so long, and you basically have helped christen the whole thing. So thank you for being a part of it. You're basically episode one. I appreciate it all.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, the honor is all mine, bro. I appreciate you every day. So, I mean, many people would have known who you are, basically. I mean, of course, your previous incarnation of Mark Hardy, and now well, I think basically everybody knows the reinvention of Braveboy already. It's something that's happened for some time now in that regard. But for those who don't know the genesis of who you are as an artist, I mean, you could probably take us a stroll down memory lane. You know, like who is the man that behind the artist that is known as Braveboy?
Wow, man, Greg. So I'll start from childhood. You know, my dad. You know, rest in peace, Dad. Hilton Braveboy. He's driving to school, driving to nursery school, and you know, we going to we writing songs and we singing nursery rhymes and we writing calypsos, and you know, like naturally that was embedded in me. And then from entering calypso competitions to entering 12 and under, you know, I won best instrumentalist on 12 and under. A lot of people don't know that. I used to play the clarinet. So that was fun fact, right? And then, you know, you go through your teenage years and it's about fitting in and being cool and that kind of stuff. And everybody wanted to be a DJ and be in a song system. So me and my neighbor started a song system called Fifth Element Sound System. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, we couldn't afford dub plates, right? So we were, we were young and none of us were working at the time. And I started to experiment with imitating Elephant Man and Bounty Killers. I say, chisel my nizzle. It is brave boy.
I can tell that there are elements of that, like in the way that your demeanor. Of course, when you're on music in itself, I mean, if
Yeah.
people would probably listen to you when you're on record and when they actually speak to you, it almost feels like,
Too
I mean, it
right. And
almost, yeah, it's
yeah,
like
and
where
then
does person come out from?
and then like man like sprang a Benz like crazy and Bounty Killer cross angry. But fast forward, that has helped me in this role of voiceovers for this AI movie, right? But just
Right.
to track back a little bit, and then I mean that took me into just imitating artists and the plates. We did a project called Roti Gold. I think it was
Ah.
Roti Gold 1999 or Roti Gold. I can't remember the year, bro. But it got in the hands of Ken Holder, who was Treason's
Oh, wow.
producer. And after thank my friend Crystal Rose, she was working as an artist there at the time with Ken. And yeah, Ken heard some talent, like so sometimes, when I hear these internet sensations now on social media and people bad talk them, I say, yo, I was there once, like somebody, there's talent there, so this hasn't been developed. And then fast forward, definitely I entered Soca Monarch Youth Fest. I was there for the entire journey of the industry in Trinidad of this generation. Fast forward, I took some time to actually be on the business side, managing an artist, and we went to New York and met a bunch of industry people. So I got to see the real music industry, got to go to Atlantic Records, and there's a whole side of my career that people don't really know about. Got into music distribution from early and licensing from a very young age. I have a friend who started a company and I was the operations manager. And then I ventured into my solo career because I was in a group back then when I was doing Soca Monarch and all those things called the Breathless Crew.
Right.
And then I started, I was always Marcus Braveboy, which is my government name, right? But then when I went to law school, realizing how serious the legal industry is in Trinidad and the law industry, I wasn't too sure if I wanted to go all the way and become an attorney. So I had to and I'm actually not an attorney. I just have my LLB from the University of London, right? So
okay. My apologies.
Law degree, right, or a law degree. But so and then after I finished my law degree, I started releasing music, and I realized that okay, I might need to separate my professional life, corporate life, from my creative life, and we created the name Mark Hardy, and Mark is a close synonym. Mark is basically short for Marcus, and Hardy means strong or resilient, which is like it was like a play on brave. So I was like, Mark Hardy.
I don't know why I was thinking, automatically I thinking, all right, maybe he was like a big fan of the Hardy Boys books growing up. I don't know.
Nah, it's not even anything like that. People thought it was Eddie. I used to wear a lot of Ed Hardy or something, and I just like that. But because
it could be that too, eh? It could be that.
Yeah, no, to tell the truth, it was just that I have to bring up Giandre. It was Giandre who kind of sold me on the name, and we discussed it today in the studio. He was like, Mark Hardy, song like, like somebody that everybody know, song like has like a star name. So yeah, people knew me as Mark Hardy, and I performed with 5 Miles to Midnight, opening for Evanescence and Stephen Marley. I had a song, a remake, because I started to work on this mixtape, and I got a lot of buzz in the college circuit in America. And one of my songs called Amatrini was on the mixtape.
Yes, I remember that. I was also, I think, the Black and Yellow instrumental from Wiz Khalifa. I think that.
And then I had Santana, the puppet, in the video.
I remember that video.
Yeah, so it's like all back then, right? So I always had this kind of, and I didn't have a hit song, but I always had this kind of underground buzz of somebody like, hey, this Rasta man who smile all the time. It's still Rasta man. He has some cool music, or he doing some cool, interesting things. And that was in Woodford Cafes. And then I actually went to Mevon's studio. I knew Mevon for a long time.
Shout out to Explicit Mevon. Explicit as well.
So Mevon and I had mutual friends. So we just knew each other. We were always cool from, and then sometime I bounced him up in a line, and he was saying, come and check out the studio. They working on the studio. So I was like, all right, well, I actually had a dub play to do for Scorch for Amatrini, right? Because I was on the Scorch committee, and that was a big deal for me. I was like, Scorch wanted a dub play from me, right? And and then I went to my own studio to do it. And then while we were there, he said, I have an artist I wanted to meet. is Young Rud, right? He's Dave Rud's son. I was kind of
Correct.
aware of Rud's because I think I saw some stuff on, I think it would have been Facebook back then, of him freestyling or something. So I was like, see, tell him come true. And the first time we ever met, we recorded a song and shot a video. And that brotherhood started in that session in terms of just realizing, like all of us have so much in common. We all from Diego Martin. We all young creatives. We want to do it. I was probably the oldest and most experienced in the crew. So, I was able to give some knowledge from my experience and, steady project a certain way. And man, it was, the rest is history. And, and then I'll pick up Steph Kalu as well.
Yes.
Shout out it's really opened like especially to a different audience, I'll say even like the East Indian community in Trinidad, that they accuse us as a young superstar in that community. So a lot of persons from that community started to know me, and then the journey continues with Bad Royal, who work with Bungie Garland. I met them by Double Star and through Reese from 5 Miles. So it all connects. Then I ended up working with Bad Royal and performing at Lollapalooza and performing at Miami Music Week and so many places. And it just keeps going. And then the pandemic.
I know, right?
The pandemic happened, and then I started to dabble in Latin music, and that took my career to a whole different level. We could, like my most successful songs now are Latin songs, and people don't know that. People in Trinidad really know that, right? So, so it's been crazy. I have songs on Netflix. I have songs signed to Zumba.
Wow.
And it's just, I still learning every. Yeah.
I want to kind of double back on the from the business aspect of it, because I know you kind of gotten more your feet wet in that particular aspect of it as of late. How much of it was an eye opener for you per se to understand like the concept of different record deals, the contracts that might have been involved, those small details. I mean, how much was it an eye opener for you to realize how much work goes into things like that?
Yeah, look, I think I have to thank my friend Simon and there's a project was an artist named Anya, and we were in New York trying to just in our early 20s trying to figure it out. And I think from then I was privy to music contracts. I was able to, so while in law school, I was able to kind of see how music contracts are. And I, even working with the music distribution company, I was privy to contracts. So, and then I would say my international career, which started with EM and Bad Royal to now, I've read so many different contracts. A lot of people see me releasing music casually on social media, but don't realize that some of these songs are signed to act labels in different countries around the world, and there's a lot of paperwork and stuff. In Trinidad, we just released a song, but some of the songs I've released, it went through negotiations, it went through, so many different versions of the song before it released. There's songs that I would have finished last year, but it could only release this year because of the label. So that's how I got that experience. Like just my legal background for sure, but really just trying different things, realizing, okay, under this contract, this is how these were the results. Under that contract, these were the results. So it's been a mix of my my education, my knowledge and experience.
And that's something important because a lot of people, they tend to look at that situation and they think, all right, I got a deal. I just want to be able to just go out and do my thing. No, when you fail to realize that there's certain things that may have come into play as regards the whole of, they might have like a certain album amount they want from you, music-wise, content-wise. They also expect a certain amount of content as regards within that period of time. And then also the profit that you may have necessarily gained from that. People think, because you got a record deal, you're rich. It doesn't necessarily always work out that way. Because there's always percentages that you have to look into with, how much the executive leaves, and then whatever's left for you could be taxed in other ways too. It's a lot of different stuff.
I say streaming is really tough. Like making money from streaming. I think you have to own any master really makes a difference. But then there's a school of thought of just own everything, and but then if you could own 100% of nothing, right? So if it is that you own all these masters, hoping one day that somebody discovers you, especially living in Trinidad, this chance is so rare. But I've taken chances where, okay, I don't own any piece of the master, and I always maintain my publishing to reach any point where I always get a percentage of the master, to a point where some people have given me all of the master. I've had so many different scenarios depending on who I work with. But yeah, bro, that side of the industry, it's what I've been. I'm a student of it still, and I have
Mm-hmm.
my company now with Kevin, Bihari, Mate, and Kira, called the Content Island. So we have the Caribbean's first licensing library for music, sound effects, photos, etc.
Okay.
So it's live, and it's. I mean, we haven't properly like launched it. That's everywhere, and we still, but we actually operate in business and have clients and stuff. So yeah, I guess like 2025 we'll probably dive into it more, but we just want to do it
All right.
properly.
Well. Once we get that up and running, I mean, I would love to be a part of it, so we can get more of an in-depth analysis on how that works, so we can
Yeah,
let more
bro.
people be educated as it goes along.
Yeah, no, and then you see, then and there's AI too, which is it's just so interesting because I'm part of an AI film, right? But AI, there's so many different schools and thoughts about AI. AI is going to destroy the music industry. AI is going to do this, but I think it's coming either way. So you have to work, you have to understand it
Sure.
and work with it, right? So, but yeah, so I mean, one day we could definitely talk more about Content Island. It's needed. A lot of agencies complain about not having the right enough like photography of persons of ethnicities in Trinidad. And you can
Correct.
tell like a Black American sometimes looks different from a Black Trini or a Douglas. Like we have mixes, specific mixes here in Trinidad, or East Indian in Trinidad looks different from an East Indian from India. Like it's that kind of. So all those things we really working on, and then the music so far is what we lead in with.
Yeah.
People could, and we started with instrumental, so no voice songs yet, no like songs with vocals. Yeah, so that's very exciting, bro. That's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot
I
of
think
different things.
it's a lot of stuff that we could get into, and it's a lot of stuff that's really going to push and revolutionize the industry down here. I believe once Trinidad gets their finger on the pulse of it properly, it can be something that can modernize a lot for the industry. But
Yeah, no,
going
for
into
sure.
the whole topic of the AI, as you mentioned, you are in a film. I'm going to just bring up the poster here again. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
Circle Armor, and you're voicing the character named Gregor.
Yeah,
Mind you, when you look at it closely on the flyer, it looks a lot like you. And mind you,
yeah,
it has my name just missing the Y. It's like,
yeah.
I feel like
No,
I feel like I had to talk to somebody.
yeah,
Anyway,
no, another big up. So big up Verena. She's a writer, director, and producer and executive producer. And then my friend as well from like secondary school days, Charles. He's the animator. So just last night I was hanging with him and he showed me how he created me. And
so,
how he created the
so
characters.
basically, that's how that came about. I mean, they considered you for the whole thing, or was it a process where you had to like audition or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I had to audition. I really had to
Okay,
audition. But I think so. It's interesting because I ended up connecting them during the pandemic.
right.
Greg sometimes I connect people as well. That's just my personality. Like if somebody asks, especially somebody like how me and you are good. If Greg, you say you want to, if I have a link for something, I'll just be like, I do that so much every day that I could forget. And sometimes during the
Happens
sometimes
to the
during the
best of us.
pandemic. Verena, who's a really close friend of mine for years. I know from Synergy Days. She used to be a host on Synergy, and she's been so
Right.
supportive of my career. So anything that she ever needs, I'm like, yo, I got you. And she was looking for animator, and I was like, well, I started seeing my friend Charles. His name is Normal on social media. Post all these dope
Okay. Okay.
animated things of like Rasta stuff and real cool stuff. Now that just stood out. And I just connected them and they remembered me and they invited me to audition. So I still had to audition. It's not, people say nepotism in Trinidad, but I actually had to properly audition. And it's something I'm good at because, as you say, like it goes back to the story of me changing my voices, and I could do female voice, I could do male voice, I could do deep voice, I could do young voice. And I'm an only child too, right? So I just kind of, my imagination has always ran a bit wild. So voice acting is something that I could actually do. It's something that a friend in LA told me that I should consider. So here's the opportunity. I got an opportunity during the pandemic to be in a kids film for a big motion picture in a company in America, but it didn't work out because I wasn't a member of the agency. So yeah,
Okay.
so you learn a lot as you go along. As I say, it's like, as I say, Greg, people probably, I'm sure even yourself probably see my social media and like, yo, I don't really understand what he's doing, but I'm exploring like different parts of the industry. So when I learn, I could
And,
take it.
and,
I
and
could
you
go
know,
back.
the funny thing is, I can respect that because at the end of the day, it's you trying to basically kind of not limit yourself because, the more you experiment, the more you realize what you're good at or what suits you as a person, because you can never know what you really are capable of incorporating into your skill set until you really try it. So I mean, kudos to you.
For sure, and I can say, I mean, Greg was one of the guest artists on Unplugged and Chill. From Unplugged and Chill, I ended up hosting so much that I actually
Yeah.
paid to host now, and I hosted an event for the Brazilian embassy recently. I was the
Oh
host,
wow.
so it's like I've hosted so many different types of events. I've hosted dance competitions, like just I've hosted podcasts. I've done all kind of stuff. So it's like that's my thing. Just keep exploring and trying different things. I think in Trinidad we like to box each other in and say, well, nah, you don't look like a so and so. You're a singer. Just be a singer. Honestly, I think that when you meet people in LA or in New York, they are a dancer, a singer, a jazz musician, plus they are chef, plus they are, and yeah, I mean, life is probably way more expensive in those cities, so they have to do what they have to do. But I know so many people like that who just doing so many different hustles that yeah, it's like even big artists, you'll be surprised. I hear stories about Swiss Beats and Timbaland and them like having side hustles, like so.
Well, it's important because at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you never know, the main source of income might not always be as profitable as you would like. So there might be other things you might be able to venture in that can help you sustain
No,
you, and
for
then
sure.
it could be able to be something that could be a bigger career for you in itself too.
And the pandemic, I think, showed that. And for me, because I was just exploring. I got so many opportunities during the pandemic to do the most random things, like to transcribe mumble rap lyrics, to just doing random stuff. Like I've ghost written for artists in other parts of the world who can't speak English.
Wow.
So there's so many different ways to make money, to do different things, and I think that you just have to keep exploring this. I mean, I'm still figuring it out. I'm not a millionaire or anything, but it's like I still trying to figure it out. I still have a lot of responsibilities and bills to pay like anybody else our age, but I still trying to figure it out. I still balancing doing those things plus pursuing my passions, right?
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you're furthering yourself as you go along. Just getting a quick comment here. Shout out to Colin Peters, who listening. He said, "Pick up the local artists." He's like, just letting
Yes.
you know. At the end of the day, we always appreciate everybody giving support, like and share, and subscribe to the channel as well too. We're gonna be having this here, and also we're gonna be having this blasted to the official 868 Sessions page. And we're also gonna be doing more live events. This is gonna be the first of many, and we're looking to push this to the point where we can even have like a live show where we can have and talk something similar to what you guys were doing on Unplugged and Chill.
Yeah.
But we're starting off virtually at this point. No performance needed today, so don't worry. I ain't expecting you to go and jump around your living room and sing. So
It's all good. It's all
yeah,
good.
you just come from the gym, so obviously you might be a little bit sore. I will your muscles too much now.
I would tell you a funny story, Greg. Like, as an artist, you have to always be prepared to perform because, I mean, I went to my friend's wedding and I was eating curry roti, and then they started playing my song. I had to run it. So you could always. I've been in clubs where they started playing the song, and I might just reach by me, So
Yeah, no, trust me, I know the feeling because I remember years ago I was at a friend's wedding in City Hall in Port of Spain, and the funny thing is like they said that the original wedding singer that they wanted to have ended up calling out six. So it was like the bride and all were good friends with me. I was like, Greg, if you get Murphy, well, it's like how much songs? So just like in your mind, you already kind of just do it. And you're like, all right, let me be prepared for this just in case.
Yeah,
Situation.
Prepared. And,
Oh,
I always look at it like we're doing what we love, you know what I mean? So it's like,
correct.
Even if that's an inconvenience, it still is, you get to do something you love and showcase your talent for people, and that's a blessing, So gratitude is a must.
For real. So I mean, we gotta get back into the music side of things as well too. I mean, you're a guy that's done so many different things, and I mean, I think we could say that you've had you and Rod and other artists are well within the circle, like the likes of Jimmy October and Calpi and Steph Kalu have had like cultural impacts in different ways. I mean, from Naboy to Taxes to Don't Blush, Baby. I mean, these are songs that everybody they probably would when they hear you, it's like, oh gosh, is he nice? These songs is like they know the song, they may not know it by name per se, but once it's played, everybody kind of associates with it. If I had to ask as regards like in music on a whole, what song you would what part of music was it like? Would you say you had the most fun as regards like performing in venues or just overall? Like, if you have a favorite song that you've done so far.
I would say for sure, like in terms of performances, definitely the trap soul songs. I think we had it was really a movement, and it was amazing to see people go from not taking us on to like we literally were like at the time like these local celebrities, like street heroes almost. And I think that and especially the patriotic side of it, so many young people at the time, we made them proud to be from Trinidad and Tobago. That mixed with the Bad Royal stuff, because I mean performing in Lollapalooza to this day has been the biggest gig of my life. And
That must have been out of this world experience. I mean, you said you headlined, you opened for Evanescence and all these. Like,
yeah, no,
what
that
was
was
that
fine.
feeling like?
I mean, so like we don't sell dreams here, so it's like at the time when we performed in that concert in Trinidad with Evanescence and Stephen Marley, we were the opening act. So the opening act is when people now coming in. So you probably performed for like 50 to 100 people. But the one with Bad Royal, we performed like as one of the headliners. Like we performed for like 10,000 Americans, right? And what was interesting to me is somebody in the crowd tagged me on Twitter, took a picture of me and tagged me on Twitter. So they found me on Twitter. And as I realized, wow, Americans are real fans. And like walking through the crowd, people running up to me and asked me to take pictures. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, right?
I mean, that is what
I've had a real experience. And also the treatment too, like, like it was that, I mean, we've had great experiences with certain promoters in Trinidad, especially in Tobago, where they really treat us like stars. But in Lollapalooza, it's like you literally have to take a go-kart. It's so big, the venue's so big, you have to take a go-kart from one side to the other. And then there's there's an area where they have like, complimentary, like they're 10, in like how we have tents in Trinidad for artists. It's like they have a proper area that's built. It looked like CIC all inclusive or something, right? And we had our own, like us Bad Royal, we had a room full of drinks, food, anything we wanted. And then right next to us was Danny Brown, who is a big rapper from Detroit, and it's like it's just so surreal seeing all this. And yeah, it was and then right after we went to Major Laser's after party for Lollapalooza, and we were in VIP there, and it was just insane. It was just I just met all these people. I met Skrillex, one of Skrillex producers. I met this, so I just meeting the most random people. It was just so much fun. So the combination of both, because trap soul was really close to my heart in terms of, but then those performances were insane in America, because it's like they don't know who I am, but it like insane.
It just kind of feels, it almost feels surreal. It's like that people, you're basically almost like a virtually unknown to most of the people in that culture. But then you go on stage, and then people somehow is like, oh, I need to Google this guy or look for him on Twitter, and then it's like, I saw you.
I can tell you, Gary, the first time I performed in Miami Music Week is at a Mad Decent block party. I just performed one song, and I climbed up on top of the DJ set and was performing. And I kid you not, I came off, and there were five young ladies waiting on me. Literally, like five, just waiting on me. Like one of them wanted to take a picture, the other one told me, oh, her boyfriend didn't come today and she have nowhere to go after. So I can tell you some crazy
stuff. We all right. We gotta leave that part in front show.
We gotta leave that part
in show. We gotta leave that part in front show.
The thing is, like, you do all those things and then you come back here and people just, it's almost like it never happened, because the way
it's almost like a back to reality kind of situation.
Yeah, and it's humbling. I'll tell you, it's very humbling, but at the same time, it kind of, when people don't really realize how much you've done and how much, and I'm not the only one. I could tell you people from Fireball to Keisha, to MX Prime, to the Triller, to Madhead City, to there's so many of us who really Steph performed at Ultra, and like she has a song.
Big up to every one of them that you mentioned as well too. I've actually had close interactions with all of them. Steph to Madhead City. Madhead City lives not too far from me. Me and him go to the same gym down here in Raw Fitness. So it's like I see him almost every week. So shout out to Madhead City. Probably one of the best musicians I've seen in a long time recently, doing a lot in the drill scene as well too, producing his own music as well too. It's like it's a lot to see that these artists are making their own way and paving their own way. I mean, when you look at the vast difference between the way that like Trinidad would value their artists compared to where you see out in the States. I mean, you've experienced both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, do you think Trinidad will ever properly value the artist before they have to go outside and make it big, or is it something that you think it's
So
going to be a work in progress now?
So I would say we had a great experience with Trapso. I think Trapso
Mhm.
proved that people could really support their own outside of like soca, and this is just before Trinidad and there, right?
Right.
And in terms of the people, I think we really had a lot of support from the people and the DJs and the everybody, the media. But I think when it came down to it, it wasn't lucrative, right? And it was like people. It could be that they didn't really have a hip hop culture here, so like the promoters didn't really have budgets to like because there was a time we were booked every weekend and we were
Right.
getting paid, but when you compare how much we were getting paid to how much soca artists get paid,
Yes, it's night and day.
yeah, and and you as an R&B, as somebody saying R&B and other genres, like the vibes now, so it was kind of like
Correct.
it's like, and then it's important. It when you play in the international market, it's expensive, right? And we were playing in the international market where we were trying to get the sound up to a certain level. So we just kept investing money in videos and in mixing and mastering and then clothes and then just looking fresh and and then there were certain trips you take in and then it's like it
Yeah.
didn't make business
It
sense.
was no, it's not. It wasn't profitable to the point because
Yeah,
you're spending
and
more money just to be able to do these things than you're actually
yeah.
gaining from it when you're in the end of the day.
And then I got the opportunity through Barrel to see the international market. And so it's like you're the biggest thing here for a little while, but it's just not translating into money. But then
Correct.
you nobody away, and then it translated into some kind of money. So it's like, wait, no. It's like, what going on? It was just like, and you're getting older, and it's like you have to start thinking about, okay, like if how am I going to have longevity in this industry, right? And I think for me, but the hard thing I would tell you the truth is like, a lot of people in Trinidad who were fans of Trapso, they don't really know my new music, and I've been dropping. I probably have like 60 something songs I dropped in the past however many
Yeah, I
years, right?
mean, and for me, it's a lot of people that really don't pay attention to it. I mean, someone who's into music like me, who
Yeah,
probably subscribe to the local artists. I mean, I know about the collaborations with like Collins Durante, The Big Man Don't Cry, and all these other
yeah,
stuff, the elevators that you would play. I mean, these are songs that a lot of people don't know about. And then, of course, recently you did a collaboration with some of my good friends on Luke the Gifted. Shout out to
yeah,
Luke
yeah,
and you
yeah.
as well. So that song called Me Crazy is a beautiful piece of music. So
It's a
you
great
for
song.
lending your voice to that because that I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. That is
Yeah.
a wonderful collaboration.
And I think what happened is if Trinidad was America or Africa or a European country or something, in terms of size, right? In terms of the size of the country, I think that song with Lujo would have been a hit in the R&B market. That song
Correct.
with Elevators with the hip hop heads would be rocking with that. The College Durante, like that's one of my favorite songs. Big Man Don't Cry, to me, Big Man Don't Cry. I think that's probably one of my favorite song I've ever written.
Ah,
And the sentiment of it obviously tying into my dad's passing and just an emotional song. And man, to me that was like the song where people got a little more respect for me as an artist. Like, oh, okay, he's an artist, he's not just like a rapper, or he's not just somebody who's charmed. So so but it is, I mean, but Big Man is interesting, I guess, because Big Man Don't Cry was the hot local song, or I think it was the hard local song on Red
right.
96.7 for like a month just before the soca switch. So it's like if they didn't have the soca switch, that song, I was getting new fans, I was getting gigs, I was getting that kind of made me realize, okay, there's room for this here in Trinidad. So
Hmm.
it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. But
It,
but to
it,
answer your question, that's the only hard thing about it. It's just like uh there's not enough people to appreciate it different. There's not enough people to appreciate diversity in artists here. So they want you to
correct.
just do this, like they want you to just do this one style that they like, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a little tough. And then when that style is not necessarily relevant anymore, then what happens? You start to pay bills, you still have to stay relevant, you
Because I
still
mean,
have,
at the end of the day, if you're just stuck in one particular sound all the time, and when that sound doesn't seem to be the hot trending thing, artists
yeah,
will eventually phase out if they can't adapt in a situation like that. So
yeah.
adaptation and versatility is always important when it comes to the art form.
No, for sure, for sure. And I think for me, I'm the epitome of that. And I guess what I'm working on now is more structure in it. And it took me a while to find my international sound. And I think I have this sound now that really works across genres, across countries. It's like the next being like the Sean Paul or the Shaggy of Trinidad. And in some ways, it's like making a lot of global pop music, and I think I fit in there. It's different, it's a different approach from hard lines and hard bars and being the best, having the best food. Say, it's more about songwriting. I've gotten really good at songwriting, and songwriting I think is a game changer in terms of, I could tell you this, for me, seeing like a business jam is like, when you can write songs and write your own songs and you do a lot of collabs, the royalty checks, eventually start making more sense because you write everything, right? So like that you do. So you always have that percentage, and you always have, and I'm doing in that game where randomly just see a check coming for this or check coming for that, or it might be a lot of money, but it's still like you regularly see money from music. And being from Trinidad doing something different, that's crazy. That's not something we're accustomed to. So that's where my head is at, and it's been it's been a long-term investment for me because I transitioned from Mark Hardy to Braveboy. Finally, everybody knows me as Braveboy. But even though some people still call me Mark Hardy, I just say it like it, and I'm cool with either one. But it's just like I was able to.
Listen, these are the people who basically know you from day one. So it's kind of like you kind of let slide somewhat. I mean, it's not necessarily they're trying to respect you. So yeah.
It's more about the fact that people recognize that, hey, Braveboy is this particular artist, this particular style, this thing. I think that I'm starting to achieve that, where people, because I remember I was in the bank and a girl just keep watching me, tell her, and then she was like, you're an artist, right? I was like, yeah. And she's like, you are, and I was like, my mind was like, Mark Hardy. She's like, no, Braveboy. So I was like, okay.
That must feel good. I mean, knowing that people actually acknowledge who you are currently, and not necessarily stick with you in a particular sound or like associate with a particular name. They recognize this is who your current version is. It's a refreshing feeling in itself. So yeah, I mean, kudos to you, man. I mean, you're making a lot of inroads. I mean, I have one question that I just want to ask though, because it's like, I mean, as regards with the whole thing, I mean, you've talked about making sure that people do streaming and like you're making money through those different avenues and ventures. I mean.
Right.
Would it be something that you yourself could also probably see yourself maybe pioneering to like have a streaming system where where local artists could be able to generate revenue properly? I know it will have a lot of tricks because in itself it's a matter of how much the music in itself is being played locally. But would that be something that you can help you see yourself like lending your expertise to?
Well, so, I have two friends who associates who created those things. There's a guy I know who created an entire, basically looking like just like Tidal, like streaming for Trinidad, and he tried to get me to be the person to partner. The problem is we don't really stream here generally, and that platform will be competing with YouTube, Apple Music. So right now I don't think anybody wants to just, including myself, to be honest, nobody wants to just go on a streaming platform that only has local music. Because you want to be able to listen to Shensia, plus listen to your local music, listen to Kute and Shensia, plus listen to Key Glock, plus listen to Mariah Carey, plus listen to Davido, plus. So I think, and the streaming, the only way that could work, I could see that happening is like soca, because soca is demanded. If it is that all the soca, let's say Marshall creates this platform, or he is the person, the face and the Jay-Z of it, and all the soca, like he works with the artists, and all the soca coming out has to come through this app. Or if Julian's promo does it, like that's the only way I could see it working, where people need this music. There's this, because people who love soca, right? So if it is that people would subscribe, if this was the only way they could get the new soca. But in my position, doing alternative styles of music, and I think better remind ourselves that we are a niche now. Like us, Trinidad is a niche. So if you're doing a niche within a niche, business-wise, just don't make sense. And I think the ideas that I'm attracted to right now, just being honest, is ideas that more Caribbean-wide, regional, or global, because that is the only way you can make proper money off of. Because you could, I mean, the technology there, bro. Like I know two people who have. I have a friend who had a streaming platform named Tune, which is dope idea, great, but it's just, the cost it takes to market an app. He was able to finish the app and launch it, but the cost it takes to market an app, you had to have B Mobile and digital money, right? And That's just the truth, right? So it's
Yeah,
not.
I know.
Yeah, I would do something like that for the Caribbean, but the problem is most people want variety, and people want to
Right.
be able to listen to Caribbean music, but also listen to international music. The only way I can see it working is soca.
Yeah.
App specifically, like for soca music, where this is where all the soca and to get all the soca artists agree to that is going to be hard because everybody want to, like
Yeah.
have their music.
Everybody going to have a particular cut it within it because I mean they'll look at the
Yeah,
percentages, how much they make in the revenue that they would be looking at, how much they would probably want to make more. It's a lot of variables that you have to take into consideration if you're gonna have something like that
exactly.
collaborative in a sense.
But why is he missing though is a publishing company, and that's something I.
Mm.
But I'm learning. I'm trying. I'm a student of it, so that's why we're releasing each song. I check how much money was made from it, or the different, there's so many different types of royalties, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we don't even talk about neighboring rights, and we don't realize that neighboring rights are in different territories, and we don't realize that there's so many different ways to make income from your music being played, right? And even
Right.
sync fees, and even it's just one of those things now. It's like you really get check for artists mainly from performing, right? But if it is that your
True.
music is on used on TV shows in Trinidad, you don't really get so it's different, but a way you could get consistent checks for that. And we'll
Correct.
get there, but I think that for not like publishing to me is a good venture. That's something I would look into, but it wouldn't just be for Trinidad, it'd be for the Caribbean, because it just don't make sense. If you're doing something for Trinidad, it had to be a necessity, like supermarket, medical, tires,
Correct.
for used cars. But
Yeah, doing
music,
like little jingles and things like that, just probably.
yeah. Unfortunately, music is not seen as a necessity, even though it is a necessity. People need it, but
That
it's
is
not.
true.
It's not. It's one of those things that there's so many different types of music. So
So the
and
variety in itself kind of makes it difficult for you to be able to kind of have like something you have like a whole like a strong ground on in itself. So.
yeah, and I think the competition, you competing with Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, YouTube, we are the biggest. I think YouTube is most consumed here, right?
Yeah.
Most
So,
people
so you're
discover
basically starting off with a huge disadvantage when you think about situations.
exactly. So for me, great question. Definitely, it's something that I've been approached in the past to do, but it just didn't make business sense. Like I would spend all that time and it just would not make sense because I've seen people do it before and they had great
Right.
intentions, good people, but it
That's
it don't work. So the industry is not, it's a small market.
true. Very true. Very true.
The
Now
only
I
way I
now
can
I
see
did say
yeah.
sorry,
Sorry.
good.
Now the only way I could, because I watched this interview with Ryan Leslie the other day on Drink Champs, and his approach similar to Nipsey Hussle's approach. If you can find 2,000 people who pay $200, then it make business sense. So that's what I'm saying. If it is, they could have a demand, like a demand. I think the only genre where people are fanatic about in Trinidad is soca music.
Let's go for music.
Chutney, yes, but soca is like the at the pulse of Trinidad, and I think that that's something I had to, as somebody who's out there, lineman, and like soca is across like weddings, the way how people, like soca is a staple at weddings, wedding
True.
reception,
Very true.
and soca like corporate parties, the way how cricket, anything, and I just realized, wow, like soca is, we will never be that, when I say like in terms of accepted by everybody, and that's okay, that's okay. That's why you have to know your market, and if we want to do the kind of we doing, we have to look outside regionally or
Correct.
look.
Correct.
But that I think but that would make that would make business sense if it is whatever platform, the streaming platform, they can charge for maybe behind the scenes content or things that people see as, or they get to talk to the person directly. Like imagine,
Correct.
Last example, so I don't take up too much time, but if it
Yeah,
is there was,
no.
if there was a streaming platform where you can actually talk to Marshall, like like you say, it's $1,000 a year or something like that, and one of the features is you can talk directly to your soca artist, so you could actually have a 5-minute conversation with Marshall within that, like one for the year. I think real people would pay $1,000 to do that, right? So
Yeah.
things like that, I think that is the out of the box stuff that Ryan Leslie was talking about, and I think that whoever in soca, I mean, I maybe I could be a business person in soca, I just think that is a idea there. You know, like
You
giving
never know. I mean, you could leverage something and make it a profitable fee for yourself and itself. You never know where these things could go. Starts off as an
correct,
idea, you start to put things up.
correct, exactly. You know, so yeah.
So okay, so I know I did say that you wouldn't be performing, but we are. I mean, we had a long discussion here. We want to have a little fun with you as well too. Now,
Right.
I'm sure you're familiar with the whole idea of of word association. We're doing song association in that regard.
Right.
So I'm going to give you 10 words, right?
Uh,
Or if you want, we could probably go down to five. Okay, 5 or 10. Which one? I can do the option.
anyone, 10, anyone, 10 is fine.
All right, all right, we go to the 10. We go to the 10. So I'm gonna give you a word, and you have to think of a song with the word in their lyrics, or maybe it could be the title of the song that has the word in it. We can start with that, right? So
Any song, right? Not my song, any song.
no, it could be any song. Yours, any other artist, any of your favorites, local, international, it don't matter.
Okay, let's try it.
All right, cool. So the first word I'm going to give you here, the first word is bad.
Yeah, bad to the bone. Bad to the bone.
Yeah, okay. I remember that one. I don't know why, but I automatically was thinking Michael Jackson.
Well, yeah, that's the first one that I think, bad man, you know, run out very well.
Spraga.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That one. Yeah, that one moves. That one moves. All right, let me see. Next one I have here is. Well, if you go do this, I wonder if you go get this one. This next word is sunrise.
Sunrise. Sunrise. I'm thinking about three little birds with the rising sun, but the actual word sunrise. I mean, it could be any song. So when I was a teenager and in the Breathless crew, we had a song called "Fling It Back," and one of the
Mhm.
lyrics was that my friend Sergio sang was, "I see the sunrise, it's in your eyes." So I mean, technically it's a song, it might be a known one, but
All right, all right. Technically, we go low down.
yeah,
We go low down. We go
yeah,
low down. Oh gosh. Hey, all right. So the next word I have here, this one should be easy. The next word here is heart.
the heart,
Yeah, heart. Yeah,
yeah.
like Heart.
Them have the heart of a pagan, the heart of a lion.
Hey, Rajab Shabarangs, Rajab
Yeah,
Shabarangs.
you Mr. Artless, you're
Yeah, ah,
worthless.
Anthony B.
Anthony B.
Anthony B is that next
I'm a
one.
big,
Yeah,
big dancehall reggae fan. Like, you know, like that's the
yeah.
and
I
hip
mean,
hop.
and I
That's
can
like
and I can
proper.
tell just by listening to the way that like I said earlier, just the way that your style gives off, it lends to a dancehall vibe. I
For
mean,
sure, for
if
sure.
you
That's what changed my life.
if you had to say like what are like your biggest inspirations as regards like music wise, apart from your dad, which I'm sure,
Yeah.
who would you say was a big inspiration for you growing up in music, growing up,
So in terms of who put me onto music or in terms of artists?
or just like just like the first song you might have heard that would have probably came to your mind that you say, hey,
Yeah.
I can see myself something like this,
So
or
so I grew up listening through my dad and mom listening to a lot of like calypso and jazz and so like my
uh-huh.
first I like Kenny G. Like when I used to play clarinet and I was a big fan of Kenny G. But when
Okay,
my neighbor Brent Assing, he was like 3 years older than me, and his brother
okay,
used to have all the dance all these, you know, like when them fellas have tongue in the car kind of thing. And
true, yeah,
grew up
yeah,
like every month his brother would buy the latest CDs and we'll go over by him and we'll hear like so I remember the Joyride with Sycamore
yeah.
Tree. I remember Regulators with Warren G. I remember getting put onto Tupac. So I say he was very important in my life in terms of just understanding young urban music, you know,
Right.
for sure, you know. But man, I would say locally for sure, Bungie Garlin, Treason, KMC, Ataclan, Ghetto Flex, Rocky, like those are all people who I
Mm.
really and I got to meet all of them, you know. So it's like, and we got to sample, rest in peace, Ghetto Flex. We got to sample one of his songs too, so we got to meet him in the studio. So I would say to be honest with you, like those things are fulfilling as well. The fact that anybody
Mm.
I've grown up looking up to, in Trinidad, I met them, you know,
Ah,
or I met them, you know, like from Shadow to I met the Mighty Shadow. I you know, like probably you know I've met Sparrow, but just generally like people who I really looked up to. I met Wyclef, I met Cardinal Official. I met Fabulous. So I met a lot of people, Jed, who
You've seen a lot of these celebrities out there, man. So that's a
yeah,
big
bro.
deal.
So as I say, like I mightn't be Kess or Marshall or Bungie or I mightn't be Voice or but I am me, and I think that I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed my career and life. I've had a full life
And
of
I think that's
experience.
important for every artist to understand. I mean, you don't have to sound like or look like a certain individual. If you can just be able to carve out your own niche and let people know you for you. I think that's always important when it is becoming someone who's involved in music. You want everybody to
Yeah,
identify as, hey, I know this brave boy, this voice, or this. Yeah, I mean, those things are helpful. You don't want to seem like you're a carbon copy of somebody else.
no, for sure, for sure. And I think I definitely created my own unique sound and voice over the years, and you could tell. And when people they message me like, "Yo, this you on the radio?" Like people know. So right. So the last one was this hat. It's hot. The
Yeah.
name was hot.
Yeah, so I'll give you another one here. You got that one already. So the next one I'm giving you is Flash.
Flash.
Yeah, Flash.
Huh. Flash. Flashing lights. Kanye.
Boy, all
Flashing
right.
lights.
Kanye West, yes, that was a
Yeah,
classic. I
yeah.
think favorite,
Taking
you have a favorite Kanye West album because I'm always going to tell people that said I don't care anybody says graduations always be my favorite and
that's
stuff.
college dropout for me.
Okay.
Because I listened to that album over and over, and a friend gave me as for my birthday or something, and yeah, that it was just so different and so
Yeah.
raw and real, and so for me, I think that was my favorite.
It's a beautiful album. I ain't gonna lie with that. I don't know, it's just something about graduation, especially when I play Can't Tell Me Nothing. I remember one of the partners living up Makoya, he had a hard bone, that's 12
Yeah.
hookers in that car. So as soon as that bass knock in, that's what you hear. La, la,
And
wait till I get my money. And then just hear that bass start and knock. It's like, oh my God.
well, I have a Kanye story. Yeah. So Kanye came
Oh,
to
you
perform.
do?
Yeah, Kanye came to perform in Trinidad. B-Mobile brought him down. I think it
Yeah,
was
I remember that.
and this is my first girlfriend, right? Real sweet red, red woman.
We,
And
we, we
Trinidad.
had to call no name, sir. We had to
Yeah.
call no name. Just
And the part, and we those tickets are real cheap thinking back then, but we ended up in like I think we bought VIP tickets, but it's real cheap
yeah.
comparatively to like we know. And we ended up like
Mm-hmm.
front because my ex was very short.
Ah.
And the line in Gold Digger, he leave you for a white girl.
Oh my God.
He sang that song. He sang that to be on. Like he
Oh
literally
Lord.
looked at us
Kanye.
so that's my Kanye story. And I was like, hey, Kanye, what's
Kanye, what
up?
are you doing, man? Man,
Yeah,
mashing up
so
people like, okay, why was that one?
I have a funny, I have a Kanye West story. That is funny.
Oh gosh, that is
Yeah.
wild. That is wild. Actually, I actually have a John Legend story. I was like, I remember when he came
Well,
down here. That was the year when he and Rihanna came down.
right.
And I was working in sports and games. They were in Trinity Mall at the time. So I had the Get Lifted album. That was his first album. And I was just singing it loud and hard because people knew I had a singing stoner.
Yeah.
Yeah, people hear me singing ordinary people, and next thing I know, I see John Legend just stand up there with us watching me.
Oh, that's a real cool moment though.
It was the wildest thing because I'm like, I was like, how much did he hear? Because
Yeah.
he didn't really say anything, but he just smiled and gave me a nod of approval because he's like,
No,
he
because bro,
was impressed.
you kill that. Like that's one of my favorite songs to hear you sing. And
Yeah.
I get chills when you sing that. So yeah, like you got the
Yeah, I get it not from John Legend. Not too many people know this. I think it's the first time I ever telling you that story.
Oh, that's dope, Greg. That's good. And I think things like that you just never know. Like like you in a couple of years you can meet John Legend or meet his manager, and like he might remember that. You just don't know. You just don't know.
Maybe,
And
maybe.
but those
But
are
it was crazy. It
yeah,
was
nah,
crazy.
those are important. Those are important. Just life moments, and that's part of your story, bro. That's part of. That's
I mean, to say, I mean, to know that I performed in the front of the guys that likes like you and you and Rod and even for Rod's father as well too, David Rod, who perform as well too, performing in front of the likes of Carl Jacobs and other individuals. I
yeah,
always consider those those moments. I mean, even getting to open for fun at Bigfoot recently,
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was another one
like
that was a
Jimmy
big deal
Tan.
for me. Condolences to her as well too. She recently lost her father, so
Uh,
condolences to her.
yeah,
It's a tough time for the Bigfoot family. So we send our love to them as well too.
deepest
But
condolence. That is
yeah,
like
but moments like that for me always stand out because it's just like it's knowing that you have the respect of your peers and knowing that these are people that that are established within the business and they've
yeah,
heard
yeah,
you and they
yeah,
could
yeah.
say, hey, this
And I
guy
think
has something.
for me, it's like I've gotten that for the most. You know, I mean, like people, um, I still don't have that song with Bungie yet.
Hey, come in, man. Hey, come in. 2020,
Yeah,
2025. We talking it big today.
yeah, yeah, no,
2025, that happening.
I have so much respect for Bungie and Marshall, and like I know them personally. Like when I say like especially
Right.
like Bungie and I have a pretty good rapport when we see each other. Marshall, cool. Like I say, like Marshall has always been move cool with me. So it's like Kes I've known since secondary school, and Kes is a cool
Yeah.
guy, Jed. So we have a lot of conversations about the industry and different things, right? So
Yeah.
a piece of me feels like, all right, these fellas really see me on their level to collab with me and thing. But I've learned to understand my role may not be that. My role may not be to work with these guys. My role may be to do business with them in a different way. Maybe through my publishing company, maybe through
Correct.
and I've learned that, like that's okay. And that's you have to be grateful for, I mean, all the things that we
For the
both just
opportunities. Yeah.
that's insane. Like somebody, I could this Greg. Sometimes I watching TV, and I see people who I meet already, or was in a club with, or interacted with me already. I'm talking about American football players, the rappers, I've met some
Right.
crazy. Like I've met so many celebrities in my life that it doesn't really faze me, like, um. And some of the ones I'm excited about is the ones where like Wyclef and like since a kid I'd be like.
Yeah.
But some about like just general celebrities who you see on TV, and I've like anytime I travel, I see them, somewhere, just see somebody.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's always one of those things that you can always put it down on your bucket list that this has happened to you. You've experienced this. You've interacted with this individual, and who knows? I mean, the way that you said that you may have a different feeling where you might have to do business with them, that can inadvertently work out where you can end up doing collaborative works with them in the sense of music or other endeavors that could come along too. So
yeah,
you can never tell. I say you can never close the door on certain things because
yeah.
every opportunity is opening for something.
And I think what happened in this industry, we tend to focus on what we do have. Well, everybody, not just in this industry, but
True.
we
True.
focus on what we do have. And I think over the past year of my life, I've started to focus on what I have and be grateful for it rather than focus. We'll think from the artists who say, boy, I ain't getting no airplay, it's a mafia and it's a this and that. You may not be getting radio love, but why not with the
True.
internet? And you could be getting love on the internet that is totally independent of the radio.
And
So,
as funny as you said that I mean,
yeah,
because it takes me back to something that discussion that you and I had. I remember when I released my single,
yeah,
and I was trying to get it some local radio play. Mind you, I did happen to get
yeah.
certain
No,
radio
I
stations
heard
that
it.
we do well.
I heard it on the
Yeah,
radio. I heard it on the radio.
yeah. And I mean, also when I was trying to get it on a certain radio station, you told me that certain individuals said the song wasn't urban enough for them. I mean,
Yeah,
mind you, for them, I was like, okay, all right, it is what it is. But let's be very real because I mean it has gotten some love from people on Twitter because the song has reached as far as Africa, as far as the
yeah,
Australia, as far as like
yeah.
different walks of the world, and it's just like everybody's like, oh my god, the songs are beautiful piece of music. Like, why is this guy not famous? I'm like, that's just, I mean,
No, well,
to go into
like,
that is a long story, but in itself, I mean,
it is.
what you're saying there really
Yeah,
kind of stuck with me because it tells me that hey, there's more than one avenue for you to get to market yourself out there.
and it's like not everybody gonna like you, right? So it's like I use this like, all right, like everybody has a type, right? Let's talk
Correct.
about like women, right? Like I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you, like for some women, I am the type. For some women, you're the type. Women who like you might like me. So it's like if I'm walking around as a man feeling like I am God's gift to woman, every woman. Like so, if a woman don't give you vibes, you like, well, it had to be something wrong with her because I've learned in
No.
life that people like different things. People like attracted to different types of people. People are attracted to
Yeah.
different types. You know what people tell me my music is crap, right? And it's like I have to after. I mean, it took.
Did that ever phase you in the earlys? Did that ever phase you like in the
Yeah,
earlys? Like anybody ever?
yeah, because you're working so hard on it, and then especially like the international stuff. I've had friends tell me like, yo, I don't like your music. I don't like, but I like you as a person. And after a while, but then it's like, they say that, but then somebody from Bulgaria send you a message saying, oh my God, your music is so amazing. You know? So it's like, you just realize now everybody, okay, like, if somebody tell me I don't like the music that I'm making, you are not my target market. You know, and I think I real comfortable with that now. Like for me, that's it took a while to get there, but it's like not everybody gonna like your music, not everybody gonna want to be with you in a romantic setting. Not everybody's going to like your voice, not everybody gonna like in terms of fashion and style. Some people might look at my style and be like, his style is too crazy. I don't like how he dresses. Somebody might watch your style and be like, I love Greg's style. I mean, so it's like you can't please everybody. You can't, if you live
and that's the importance of variety in life in itself, because you know everybody wants to have a sample of different things, and you know something will cater to more someone's taste than another. So we can't be upset if it doesn't fall into the scope of what people will think is good for them, or they dislike this and they like that. I mean, we can't be upset with people having their selections and having their choice. We just have to understand it.
Different brands. That's why they have different companies. That's why they have different like types of food. That's why they have everybody like different things. So if you think everybody will like your song, then you gotta be mad, because you know it's a song from Marshall, who's the biggest artist in Trinidad, who people just don't like, you know. And he understands that he understands well. And I'm sure he feels a hole at first, like he puts everything into that. So I think for me, I've reached a point where I go to who appreciates me. I would love, I mean, I wouldn't lie, it's a good feeling to know that you have that hometown support and that people like. So I still try to do music. So Big Man Don't Cry made me feel better. Like, okay, I can still get love here and people can still respect my international writing and what I'm doing. But I can't just put all my energy and focus on here. That doesn't make any sense. You know, like if I have outside, I'm making strides outside. I'm really progressing. So I will do something for here. Like I have songs coming out for Carnival. I have a song with Kit Israel, called Pull Over. That's like I'm a piano mixed with Juve kind of vibes. And I'm really excited to drop it. To be honest, I would love it's a big song and I get a bunch of gigs. But for me and with Kit too, and this is why I enjoyed working with Kit, it was about the music. Like we just wanted to do something dope and different. And I can't, bro. I can't just do music for the hustle of it. Personally, I like his expression to me, and I like anything I've ever created came from me and my how I felt at the time, right? How I felt in that moment in life. So you know, I have another song that I'm working on, which is like a Spanish soca hit. It's like I asked my friends from Venezuela to write a soca, to produce and write a soca. I just wanted to curious to hear their interpretation of it, and I put my spin on it, you know, as a Trini. I'm gonna release it. I don't care if they don't like it, they don't like it. Cool, right? And I think that's my approach, and I'm fortunate to be able to do that. But that's I'm saying, listen, if it is Trinidadians don't like it, that's cool. I could pitch it to Zumba, or I could pitch it to TV and film, and I realize in that now. So that's where my life is at right now. And when you live like that, you live a little freer. You don't have that heavy energy of boy the radio fighting my dong and you know like the burning like burning out people. I just over that. Like that's that. I've evolved from
and I think we have to all come to a point where we realize, okay, you know what? Just like you said, just because Trinidad's radio may not necessarily appreciate what's being done here, doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to reach another market, another niche of people, another target audience. Everything has their season. Everything has their people.
I can tell you, like my most, I would say, financially successful song is a song I never play in Trinidad, you know, and that's okay. I understand that. I'm cool with that, you know. It's like that is just shows me the world is a big place, and when I see people from all around the world with Zumba dancing to the song, and it's like cool, you know. That's market for that song. That's who appreciates that song. That's cool.
Yeah, that's true. So, Mark, I just want to wrap it up real quick. So, last question. I mean, when you look back at everything that you've done so far, I mean, how would you want everybody to remember you as an artist, as basically as a person just involved within the music scope?
So one of my friends last night referred to me as a trendsetter, and it was interesting.
Do you see yourself as that?
I think back, I mean, I can tell you, I was one of the first people to do social media in Trinidad. I can tell you, like, I came back from New York at 22 or 23 years old, and I opened a social media agency. And I was the social media guy. Like, I did social media for companies, and I was one of the first influencers, you know, like, when advertising agencies needed influencers. Most of the people working agencies, I was one of the few people they knew who were like out there and who they had access to and I guess budget for and that kind of thing. I was one of the first people to get like outside of soca music to get endorsement. Me, Rod, Steph with Bel Air. I was so I was I mean I hear a lot of in terms of artists having a particular image, whether it's the glasses and the hat and the style and thing. In terms of I was one of the few artists who really like when they see me, like people recognize me, right? So I think in my own way I've been a trendsetter. I've always done out of the box things. Between myself and Nebula 868 at that time we were one of the few people using social media to build our music and buzz and stuff. The others Mikasmiastic,
Yes,
bunch of
yes,
others,
yes.
but I just
Shout
think
out to DJ Wampy and an engineer and those guys as well too.
yeah,
Big
big
fellas.
up them guys. I think they don't get, I think you should have them as guests because I think they don't get the
I intend to. I intend to. I
yeah.
mean, the more this platform builds, the more we're gonna do more stuff, and I want to also be able to have more as regards like their music and releases and other stuff as
Yeah,
well
no,
too. So if you do have new releases coming up, feel free to just drop them my way. We could also
no way,
talk
bro.
about that. Try and get
And
them.
I also have to shout out Desi too. I feel like Desi is another unsung hero
Oh
because I
yes,
feel like
man.
Desi really early. She had a vision to have the artists from R&B and hip hop do shows and like some of the I met a lot of people through Desi, and just doing those shows and just getting fans from there and just it's linking with people. I'm so happy to see DJ Pun. DJ Pun is in Paris right now, that's my brother
Yeah,
from specific
yeah.
days. So I think so.
He was
Bebo.
he was actually my neighbor when I used to live back in Eastern Africa. He's actually my
Already,
neighbor.
yeah.
Yeah.
No pun
Listen to
intended.
how far we got.
Like he's somebody I just so genuinely happy to see him win because I feel like the man just deserves a dread and he helped real people. So yeah, so for me, I think I would like to be remembered as a trendsetter, as a connector. I've done a lot for a lot of people's careers and never. I wouldn't even talk about it now. Like I did it to do it, just to be genuinely do it. A lot of people behind the scenes, I have connected dots for them that changed their lives, and yeah, I did, so
and I can assure you, those people who have been impacted by you, they're eternally grateful for it. So before we
yeah,
go,
well,
just you can just leave your sorry.
no life goals.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's it. So if anything, you can just plug your social media for those who are trying to get in contact with you, know where to find your music and other stuff like that. You can let people know.
no problem. So on Instagram at Braveboy Braveboy, on all other platforms at Real Braveboy RealBraveboy.
All right, man. But Braveboy, thank you again so much for this time. I know we talked for a whole hour. It's okay,
Yeah, that's good vibes, man. Good vibes.
Hey. So we appreciate you. Thank you again, once again, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the 868 sessions. We're keeping it 868. We're keeping it all local. Appreciate all that we have. Appreciate all who you have, and appreciate everything in your life. Y'all take care, folks.
Blessings. Have a good weekend, bro. Easy.
Oh, you too.
Yeah.